Isn't it? We're often told that we don't know too much about our British royal family. The only thing that they present to us, is a public front. But I would disagree, in fact, chums, because I think over the years, over time, you get to know quite a bit about them. For instance, many people know one of my favourites, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is a huge ABBA fan and has been to see that show on a number of occasions privately. And of course, so has her mother, and she's taken along Sophie too. So it's kind of like a girl thing, isn't it? A girl's night out. And when you also look at, say, somebody like the late Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, I know for a fact that she was a huge fan of the 1940s and 50s entertainer, George Formby. So much so, as I said, he did private concerts for them, and they knew all the words to his songs. But people forget this, but this was quite risque, in fact, way back in that period, because most of the songs, like My Little Stick of Blackpool Rock and Leaning on a Lamppost, were considered way too suggestive for the very prim and proper BBC. How times have changed, when you think now they're so tame, aren't they? And of course, the Queen Mother was a big musicals fan, and we know everything that she loved about show business. Everybody who could entertain her, of course, she absolutely adored. So it comes as no surprise that we get a new sneak peek into the world of exactly what His Majesty the King, King Charles III, likes to listen to in the downtime in Buckingham Palace, Highgrove, or indeed Windsor Castle. Or do we? Let me explain. Morning, good to see you today here in the middle of Whitehall. Nice to have your company. Whatever you do, we'll have a lovely wave. Take care of yourself. Don't worry, chums, I do have someone. Yes, a lovely Westminster Council refuge man who's keeping an eye out for me. Not allowed on camera in case apparently he's been told off for stopping working. We won't tell him off, will we? Have a sit down. Yes. Meet the sack with confidence, that's my motto. You know what I'm saying? Now let's get back to your royal story of the day. What's interesting here about this particular story is to celebrate World Music Day, Apple Podcast, Apple Radio have teamed up with His Majesty the King to come up with his very first digital playlist. Now, I don't know about you, I didn't know Apple Radio existed, but we'd call it, I think, a cassette tape of a mix. You know what I mean? You put all your favourites on, didn't you? And you recorded them and segged them or whatever, had little tracks between. But of course, this is something rather different. Now, a lot of people are getting a little bit high and mighty and uppity about this, but let's not forget, this is really in celebration of Commonwealth Day later this month. So naturally, he has picked certain individuals, I would suggest, that align themselves to that. Nothing wrong in that. But there is a couple of bombshells if this doesn't happen further down the line. Naturally, the beautiful and very talented Kylie Minogue, our Oz Queen herself, well, she's in there and he, has met King Charles many, many times over her 30-plus year career. Tina Turner I didn't see, but I'm hoping to see because I know King Charles was a huge fan. Grace Jones, Slave to the Rhythm, many different artists, including more modern day artists like Rhea. I can't really believe that King Charles actually knows who she is, but there you go. It's ticking a box perhaps, but it's this group that he could be fearing most. That's right, the 70s supergroup that sang When Will I See You Again, the wonderful and talented and beautiful 3 Degrees. Now, I've met all 3 Degrees in incarnations, including this one here, and of course the beautiful former lead singer Sheila Ferguson. Rumoured, in fact, that King Charles had a bit of he liked her a lot, yes, but she did not want to become a princess. Many royal watchers will know, of course, that 3 Degrees performed at his very special birthday party all those years ago. Now, what will be interesting is if they're not included, I would not, Your Majesty, want to take the wrath of Miss Ferguson, a formidable lady to say the least, beautiful, mega talented, but certainly not one to cross swords with, as I'm sure you'll remember. And also it's going to be fascinating to see if another person who he, had a bit of a, shall we say, hot spot for, is of course the American US superstar Barbara Streisand. Yes. So I think as we see this trickle out over the next few days, and as it's broadcast literally, as I say, in the next few days, there will be 2 other broadcasts aligned with that as well. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly his final choice cuts. And those that didn't make it, that apparently felt that they'd found favour in the musical heart, at least, of His Majesty the King. Either way, this is groundbreaking once again for the digital modernisation of the British monarchy. Neil Sean on the back of a red London bus.